Hey guys, Mark from High Strung Audio. Today we're taking a look at the Fosi Audio ZP3. This is a brand new preamp that retails for $189.99, and it absolutely transforms the performance of your DAC. Now these are the three most popular DACs right now. We have the Laiv Harmony Micro DAC, we have the Bifrost 264, and the Topping Centaurus. Now each of these DACs has a really good following. They're all really good. And this little thing here, let me tell you, this takes the performance of all these to the next level. And I'm not exaggerating. Now, I don't get paid for anything. Nobody sends me things for free. I bought this on Amazon for the full price. I also bought all these DACs with my money. I did try to get some things as a courtesy. I did let all these manufacturers know that I have a channel, and crickets. So I bought all this with my money, and I'm going to give you the real review here. There's going to be no padding. I don't know anybody, anything, and I'm going to just tell you how it is. So we know that when you put a DAC directly into an amplifier, it's not really the best for, for sound. The first thing that a preamp will fix is going to be the output stage. So what does a ZP3 really do? Like, the biggest part is it basically adds proper analog gain buffering, and it lets your DAC run closer to the full scale output. It also lets your amp see a strong and stable signal. And what does that translate to? What are you going to hear? So you're going to hear better bass weight, you're going to hear a fuller mid-range, more effortless dynamics, and no thinness at lower volumes. And that's real. It happens, it really is something that you see in all these DACs, and it's really one of the highlights of this preamp. The other thing is you have a lower output impedance, which means you have better control. So DACs often have, DACs by themselves often have a higher output impedance than with a dedicated preamp. And the low impedance in your ZP3 is basically going to be, it's going to give you better electrical damping, less interaction with cables, and a more stable frequency response. So what you're going to hear in real world is tighter bass, cleaner transients, and a better image focus, and that's true. The other thing you're doing is you're bypassing digital volume loss, because if you're controlling volume digitally through your DAC, you're throwing away bit depth, microdynamics are getting flattened, and low-level detail is suffering. So basically, all in all, you're getting such a much better image, wider sound stage, more impactful sound, and really, as a bonus, you have all these tone controls here. Now, I can't tell you, it's very hard to describe, but you got to trust me on this one. So for all these DACs, I will admit to you that the preamp does affect them each in a different way. So the Laiv DAC, let's talk about that one first. This one is absolutely incredible. It has very, very clear sound coming through it. Now, when I first got it, it was extremely fatiguing, and that was probably due to break-in. I let it play a few days, and it got a lot better. Now, the thing is, it has a lot of push to the music, a lot of drive. In my opinion, even after break-in, it's slightly fatiguing to me, at least on my system. And what this does for it, you don't really want to touch the treble because it is really, really bright. But for the bass, you want to just turn it maybe a quarter to the right, and then you get a lot more bass. The sound coming out of the Laiv sounds a lot less thin, and overall, it just really adds to the overall impact of the sound. I really liked it through the ZP3, but really what had a really nice change was the Bifrost. The 264, really, honestly, without this, I'm not such a big fan of this DAC on its own. But when you add this in the mix, what I did for the Bifrost is turn the treble all the way up, and I turned also the bass halfway to the right. And what this did more than either of these DACs is it gave such a full sound. The mid bass and the bass had the biggest impact, really had such an impact on the sound, and it sounded so good. It sounded really, really good, and the sound was like the least fatiguing out of all three DACs. It is like this effortless sound that comes out. It sounds really like a high-end, R2R DAC, and I can't tell you how good the Bifrost sounded with the ZP3 in the mix. If you have a Bifrost, you owe yourself to get one of these. It is going to make it a lot better. Like I said, the Bifrost is not as revealing as both the Laiv and the Centurus, so you just turn up the treble, and then you add a little bass, and it's unbelievable. It's like just fine-tuning like an instrument, and it really takes it from something that I really wouldn't want to own to something that I really love. I'm not joking. Before I made this video, I was playing music through the Bifrost, and I was like hesitating to unhook this from the music because it sounded so beautiful. I was listening to everything. This is the most effortless and least fatiguing out of all three. It is unbelievable. If you have a Bifrost, you must get the ZP3 right away. Do not hesitate. Now let's talk about the last DAC, is the Centurus. This is my favorite DAC here. It is unbelievable. Even on its own, without using the preamp, this is my favorite DAC. It has the best mid-range, the most natural sound. It is non-fatiguing. Effortless music comes out of this. It happens to be a very high resolution coming out of this without the fatigue, which is very rare and very hard to do. And $1,000 DAC, I think, my opinion is, this is the best one out there. It's, you know, people are detail freaks and they want, you know, every ounce of detail out of a DAC. Then you're going to get the Laiv. But to me, after listening to this for about 3 to 5 minutes, it gets very fatiguing. Even on certain types of music, it's really not going to be for me. I do like it. It has about 100 hours of break-in on it. I will admit that. I don't know if it needs another 100. I am going to keep breaking it in, and we'll see if it gets better. But right now, it's a little fatiguing when you compare it to the Centurus. So we put the Centurus on this, and that's where all the magic started happening. Treble for the Centurus is 1/4 to the right, and the same thing with the bass. And now you have really a lot of magic. You have a little bit more detail, still not fatiguing, and you add a little bit more bass. Now the bass, like I said, doesn't come across as full as the Bifrost, but it is unbelievably accurate, and this is really where you want your music. The sound, like I said, with the ZP3 and the Centurus, is completely magic. It is unbelievable. It's next level. I would say it sounds closer to a $2,000 DAC, and it's really a good upgrade. And like I said, it's really incredible. Now, one of the cool things about this preamp is if you flip it on its lid, you're going to see it has some features on the bottom of it. And one of them is a bypass switch. You could actually bypass the tone controls. And then you have the cutoff for the adding a subwoofer. So it has a subwoofer out on the back, and then you could actually control where it cuts off. It's really nice. Right now we're running in full range. But like I said, this is one of the biggest upgrades you can do to your DAC. And trust me when I tell you, it is worth every penny at $189.99. It is something that you should buy for these DACs. It's price appropriate. I'm not telling you to go buy a $1,000 preamp for a $1,000 DAC. That would be ridiculous. But at $189, it is price appropriate, and we think it is amazing. Now, don't get me wrong, something like a Rogue Audio RP1 would transform these things even a little bit further. Might be getting one of those in soon, and we're going to report back the results. But right now, if you want to, you know, buy something that doesn't break the bank and really enhances your DAC, we recommend highly the Fosi Audio ZP3, $189.99. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. It's Mark from High Strung Audio. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.